Welcome back, Tribe. We have a clip here from the conservative side or the moderate side of women and dating. I just want you to see how ridiculous it's gotten. If you thought it was bad, just wait, okay? It's not some TikTok slop, some chick in her car saying the most outlandish stuff. This represents the level-headed side of what a woman's mentality is to dating.
I think it really depends. Is the man really interested or is he maybe interested? If he's maybe interested, I think a coffee date can be more appropriate. If he's really interested, he should go for the dinner date. Why waste time with the coffee date, in my view? Go for the dinner date. And what do you have to lose? You have to lose that it doesn't work out. But if it does work out, it's a way better story. I mean, I'm grateful that my husband put it on the table and he was like, do you like the opera?
Let's go to a scandalous opera.
And then it was Carmen. It wasn't supposed to be scandalous. But our first date was actually dinner. And it was a lovely dinner. And I'll never forget it, right?
But someone else set it up, right?
No. We went. So what was set up was my brother setting up this group get together that my husband and I went to before we were married, and we hadn't met each other yet. But the opera was 5 weeks out, so it's kind of funny because I'm like, you're making a date for 6 weeks out. I'm going on another date. I'm dating other people aren't you? But then we went to dinner, and then it was coffee and brunch and hiking and all the other things.
And did you keep seeing other guys after that?
I did see other guys until we became exclusive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's just the impression that women get. I get everything you're saying. It makes logical sense, everything you're saying. And that's why men understand the logic. And I get the logic of it all. But I'm saying the impression that a woman gets, if you are like, oh, want to grab a coffee, then it's the impression that a woman is getting if she is dating with intention. It's like, oh, he's dating a million people.
Then what do you think of Lila's situation? She kept on going on dates with other guys after her husband.
No, but that's fine because they're not exclusive.
But to be clear, I was ultimately the most interested in my husband, and it was I felt it was too premature to not date other people.
Yes.
Now, my husband didn't go on other dates with other women. He felt like I want to just lay it down for this woman, and I'm grateful for that. But I wasn't telling him I'm going on dates with other guys. It also upped the ante a little bit because it's like, does he want to make this exclusive? If he wants to put himself out there and make it exclusive,
this is very true.
Then make an offer I can't refuse.
This is very true. This is very true.
It's a negotiation, guys. No, just kidding.
But I want to add
for
a
me,
caveat.
if you're kissing, it's exclusive. That's my view.
That's so true. I love that. Yeah, very true.
And I don't believe in heavy makeout sessions
because I think with some people might have.
I think it.
So just to recap what the state of married women is today and the advice that they give each other. When you're dating and courting a woman, she will continue to slob on other guys while you prove to her why you should get down on one knee and lose half of your assets potentially and the children at a later date while she gets to see other guys because you're so lucky that she decided to say yes to you. This is the non-crazy side of female dating advice. This is how bad hoflation has gotten. You used to get in conservative dating, just 100 years back, man, you used to get virgins. Now they're actively telling you that they can date and see whoever they want, and you need to up the ante to get exclusivity. Women used to want exclusivity out of men. Now women are demanding it while keeping their options open. So you're not even first choice. You're just what's left of the choices. Because a better guy could have came along, and that means she would have just left you. So she doesn't even love you for you, which is what they preach that they do. You used to get a dowry to get married. Her family would have had to give you assets, money, some form of financial backing, connections, 30 goats, 2 cows, plots of land, things like that. Because what a woman brings to the table is a burden financially. So when a woman says, you've heard a cautious feminist wife say, my money's my money, your money is my money. So you're footing the bill to feed another mouth, but what she brought to the table was nothing. Non-exclusive until you dropped serious cash on showing me that you valued me far more than I value you. This is the more conservative, moderate. These are the married women. You could even see on the text here, it says, I don't even know who this person is, recently hosted a panel called Men Chase, Women Choose. And it says, blah, blah. She discussed her own dating history with her husband. I guess the poor guy hasn't been embarrassed enough already. She revealed she was put off by the fact that he scheduled their first date 5 to 6 weeks out. So in the meantime, she's getting pumped and dumped, seeing other guys, and he would have lost had he not put in the effort. Women say they want a guy to show effort and do more than a coffee date while seeing other men. So if I do dinner, if I do, at the opera house, all this stuff, you're still going to see other men until what? From her point of view, it's kissing or whatever other stupid metric that depends based on the woman and how it's selectively enforced based on how attractive you are as a man. Because she's not making other men wait 5 to 6 weeks. She's not making these guys take her out to the opera to go see plays. And she gladly accepts coffee from Chad. It's the duality of it all. It's the hypocrisy that there's rules for certain men based on how attractive you are. Because a super hot guy that has it all, the entire list of shit that they're looking for completely disappears. Now, this is what's frustrating so many men. These are the married women that are supposed to be the good ones. This is the more conservative, traditional-minded side of female dating. This is what you get when you get married in the West as a man. Just letting you know, this is what you get when you get married to an American woman. You almost have to be like mentally retarded or missing some of your faculties to get married to an American woman when this is the ideology, this is the ideas they have when it comes to dating, how dating should be. You have to front load all the investment as a man, and I give you literally nothing in return but put on a ring and then take all your assets. I leech off of you. And that's supposed to be a great deal for a man today. And they're surprised, like, how could this possibly happen? How could men possibly look at marriage and think it's a great idea? Why is marriage rates in the floor? Why is population collapse happening? What is going on with our society? You got a great example of what's going on in society. This is also the Christian women's point of view. This is also the religious, the trad wives' point of view. It's all covert feminism. You get these women, like the most ridiculous aspect of this all, and Christianity has cucked the Western man to like levels unseen before. The final form, they say, of a hoe is a religious woman. So you have literal ex-prostitutes, ex-OnlyFans, ex-porn stars that are now preaching Jesus, and Christian men are on their comment section. You can read it saying, yes, queen, everybody must be forgiven and glad to see you preaching Jesus and you deserve to live a happy life. It's like the get out of jail free card, morally speaking, for them. You preach Jesus, you cannot impart your morals on me, your moral righteousness on me anymore. You can't call me a degenerate. You can't call me a whore. You can't, because I preach, the gospel of Jesus Christ. That's where we are today in society. The churches have been completely feminized. We live in a feminized society in general, but the women that we call Christian today have covert feminist rhetoric built in. We've moved so far left that even a traditional woman today is a raging feminist. So that is why you saw 2-3 years ago, you guys remember the trad wives, and it looked cool. And these women were wearing the 1950s aesthetic and all that. It was all fraud. It was all a scam. It was a grift. It came and it went. Just as fast as it appeared on the scene, it disappeared. Where are your trad cons in their little flowery dresses with their aprons on and their hair in a ponytail and a bun, and they're cooking for their husband and having fun with their little babies? That shit disappeared. The moment it was a trend that it came in, they came in the space, made a ton of money, played on the sensibilities of millions of men and what they deeply desired, raked in the cash, and then disappeared. Because it was never real in the first place. There's no longevity in the game for people who are preaching falsities that they're not living day to day. You can't. If the authenticity isn't there, if this isn't your genuine life, you don't last in this game. The grift is temporary. They come in the space, they disappear. That is why most content creators appear for like a year or two and they fall off and disappear. This is the and a lot of men got played because everybody in the West, as a man, were reaching for that final potential of what could be the last hope. Trad wives, trad women. Look at them battling the feminists. Look, and it all turned out to be a scam. And then you started to see the cracks that the lives weren't authentic, that it was all for show, that they're running a business, that they're making a killing, that they're not even married, or they don't even really have kids, or that they have problems and they're divorced already. They're single mothers, like the cracks were starting to form. Or one was like, I remember there's a traditional chick plotting all these videos of anti-feminist rhetoric and all stuff. And it turned out she was an ex-OnlyFans. It's unbelievable. So now, just understand it. When you go into the dating game as a man today, you are expected to foot the bill, show maximum level of interest, accept that your potential wife was dating multiple men, multiple candidates. Of those multiple men, if there's one alpha dude, a Chad, an absolute top 1% specimen, he was rearranging her guts while you had to prove your loyalty, prove your intention to her, while she gladly got smashed on a wild night with a guy she knew would never settle for her because he was beyond her value, way beyond. But you can't let a stallion go. You got to get a crazy wild ride in. So then she's looking at you, a chump, a bug sandwich, and a bunch of other bug sandwiches, and you're all lined up, and she's picking like it's a job. I told you guys, women look at men like jobs. So this guy's offering $60K a year. This guy's $80K a year. Well, this guy's got better benefits, but he earns less. Well, this guy gives me vacations here, and that's how you get chosen. It's not genuine attraction. She doesn't want to be with you. If a woman has genuine interest in you, as a man, she has no eyes for anybody else. If you're at a talking stage early and the attraction is there, every other guy becomes invisible. They all fall off. She doesn't respond anymore. She's focused on hanging out with you, wants to see and hear about your day, spending time together, spending money on you. She's deeply interested in you. You don't have to convince a woman of anything if she truly loves you. Any man who's ever had a woman truly love them will tell you they're easy to keep. It's hard to get a woman, but once you get her, they're easy to keep if she really loves you. The guys like Piers Morgan, like Akash, that are in this uphill battle, even into their marriages, of just getting a bit of intimacy out of their wives, you were never chosen. You were settled for. And then you got down on one knee like an idiot, and she's making you look like a fool, complete humiliation rituals. And so these women are getting on this podcast, and like the secondhand embarrassment is what we're all feeling. Like, how cringe would it be if you worked so hard to get a woman, you showed her all this interest, and she gets on a podcast to tell you that she was actively seeing other men, picking out from the litter, like it's like, oh, which dog is the best for this race, completely disrespecting you. And her dodo head friends are next to her, egging her on like, yes, Queen, this is what you should, because men need to. And what do you bring to the table? Do you have assets? Do you make a lot of money at your job? Can you facilitate a different lifestyle? Besides, you give me kids. Any woman you can pump and get kids. Women give out their bodies like Tic Tacs today. They don't value themselves. They ask for nothing. The same way his woman, he got down on one you married, she didn't ask for anything for Chad. But now the beta husband had to provide all this value up front to just even get a sniff, a kiss. It's pathetic. It's making your husband look weak. It makes him look like a joke. This is the women love. They revel in humiliating men and having power over men. This is what you're seeing with podcasts like this. It's now out in the open. And the sick part is, it's not the crazy leftist. These are supposed to be your normal women, the married women, the ones that got chosen, not pick me bullshit, not the fake 1950s aesthetic trad wife. None of that. These are supposed to be the normal, not screwed up in the head women. And this is what you're getting. This is what comes to the table. Humiliation. And they're wondering, truly, why men won't get married, why men won't participate in the economy. What's the point of dating today? Men are asking themselves. And still the boomers don't understand, well, if you just buy her flowers, if you just take her out, if you just say, wow, I think you're pretty, and let's go out on a date, they're so disconnected from what a woman is today versus what they got back in the 50s and 60s. It's incomprehensible to them. Quite literally, they're disconnected from the world. And it's only going to get worse. There's a sharp divide happening amongst men and women. Women are becoming radically progressive, radically liberal, radically toxic, radically feminine toxic in that sense. while men are staying sort of flat, if not climbing a bit conservative, but not that conservative compared to their peers, say 30 years ago. Men are still pretty progressive and liberal today compared to 30 years ago. That's how far left society has moved. And your gift, your prize at the end of 30 plus years of hard work, of being able to start your own business, of becoming your own man, of building your body, of becoming somebody who is, charismatic and socially adept and intellectually interesting, all these abilities, these characteristics, these personalities that you've had to acquire over years to become remotely successful women. Your prize at the end of the tunnel with all this hard work is a woman who sees other men, not even a virgin, gave her body out while making you work for it, but other guys got it for free. Humiliation rituals nonstop, talking down on you, talking about you in a negative light, making a complete mockery out of you for her own personal gain. She comes out this end in marriage looking like the complete winner, provides nothing, brings nothing to the table. A lot of these guys don't even have children and they're putting up with this stuff. Imagine putting up with this kind of headache and she didn't even do her wifely duties of giving you children. Came to the table with zero dowry, most likely debt from college, and a job that doesn't even pay well. And you're footing the bill for all of this. This is your prize. This is what you get for being a good boy and working really hard. And this is the women that are waiting for you. This is why the women that have children, older women, often advise their sons not to mess with these girls. They're completely useless. It takes a mother to see what women have become today and be absolutely disgusted at the state of femininity and women in the West in general. And a lot of women will tell their sons, not worth it. Don't waste your time. Go overseas. These girls are for fun at best, is what they'll tell their sons. Would you want your son, if you asked mothers the question, would you want your son to date the kind of woman that you see today? Most mothers tell you absolutely not a chance in hell would my son be subjected to such a disgraceful example of what a feminine woman is. Absolutely not. So if the older women know, if the men acutely know, if society knows, why are we still pretending like women aren't the actual problem in a lot of the dating, marriage, childbirth issues that we're discussing today? Why do we pretend it's somehow still on the shoulders of men? That's just my question. I'm talking here out loud because we have plenty of examples of podcasts. We have plenty of examples of toxic feminine dating advice. We have plenty of examples from the birth rate to the marriage rates to women being polled on what they value most, and it is career and money. And they put marriage and children last. It's inverse for young men. Young men put marriage and children first. So who is the root of the problem here? And how do we fix it moving forward? We're going to have like a woman fatigue discussion, modern woman fatigue, where we have to sit down with them and have a real discussion about here's how you're screwing yourself. Here's how you bought into CIA slop of feminism. Here's where your life will lead you 10 years, 30 years down the road. Here's what happens, biological realities with your eggs and how good and viable they are past the age of 32. Here are the abysmal chances of success with in vitro if you wait. And here's what happens with a full career if you decide to pursue that. Is it a job or is it a career? Do you have an impact in the company? Is your life actually meaningful? Where would you find more meaning, in your children or a job? You have to have these real conversations, because if we keep letting them get away with, sis, you're just a boss, babe. You can have your cake and eat it too. Manifest this. I have a roster of men. I could afford to wait. They're all lies. They don't take into account biological realities. They don't take into account dating realities, males' preferences for youth and beauty. They don't take into account the short time we have on this earth and the experiences that you'll be giving up to just be a drone in a cubicle, which most likely in 5 years you're getting replaced by AI anyways. And yet they're still walking in sync down the train tracks to destruction. And saying it from this side of the aisle is considered misogyny. But when another woman says it, it doesn't clock in anybody's brain because it mostly comes from older women. And they're just harpies. They're just jealous of younger women. Who cares, sis? You're too old. Let me get on the yacht now and have my fun. And then we have to have a discussion now. Okay, well, how do we fix this from a political point of view? Societal point of view, a governance point of view? Do we have to rein in some liberties? Do we have to rein in society in general? Does government have to take a hold of the culture, which is completely degenerating in front of us? Our societies are rotting. We're not headed in a good direction. People clearly cannot make decisions for themselves. There are no institutions which are working that help people evolve into, like, imagine a butterfly coming out of its shell, its cocoon, and it gets to have opportunities in society. No one has real opportunities. Nobody's living for something beyond themselves. Nobody has, the ability to buy a house, start a family, or just be financially independent in a non-stressful way. There is no good living in the modern world. So at what point do we say, listen, based on history, man leads to his own destruction. Wild women create chaos if they're not leashed in a way. If we don't have a formal structure in society for people to follow and operate within the bounds, man destroys himself. We need to start having bigger, grander conversations because a lot of this is symptomatic of a deeper, darker rooted issue that we have in society today that no politician speaks about, no government is, willing to institute. And the people themselves, blind sheep, thinking that they're free when, in fact, they're chained and slaves. And you need 50% of women, for example, that identify as liberal on SSRIs. And the men have recused themselves from society, have completely retracted inward and become hermits in a sense, where they cope with video games, porn, and jacking off and all this other stuff, anime. And so they're not living their masculine duties, their masculine potential because government, because society hasn't provided them with a well-lit path forward. Women have degenerated in the same fashion. What have we of this society to be proud of? Are we headed in the right direction? I'm just asking the question here. Do you think you're better off than your parents? Do you think you're living a life better off than your grandparents? This is progress. Food for thought. Anyways, be curious to hear what you guys think. I would prophesize, if I had to, that the next 20 to 30 years, there will be a massive acceleration and a divide between men and women, which will cause a rebound into ultra-conservative views. Piety will make a comeback. Purity is going to reign supreme. And it's going to lead society into some very, very strange places, especially with the advent of technology and AI-assisted XYZ. So, I don't know. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you on the next one.